1-800-448-9977.
You are listening to the show that's all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business. I'm your host, Shalom Klein, and thrilled and honored to be joined by State Representative Chad Hayes, the Assistant Republican Leader who represents the areas around Danville, Illinois. Chad, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So, Representative Hayes, you are Assistant Republican Leader. There's probably nobody that knows the ins and outs of what's going on in Springfield better than you, and unfortunately what's going on right now is a little bit of trouble, wouldn't you say?
Well, yes. What's going on right now, I think, could be reasonably described as disappointing. The General Assembly is going back after week. Instead of working on a solution to the budget that is grossly out of balance, the budget that has been proposed is over $3 billion out of balance. We're going back for what is political theater, which is very, very unfortunate as the clock keeps ticking towards July 1st, which is the new fiscal year for the state of Illinois. What's very interesting, even though the clock is ticking, the governor hasn't even received the proposed budget from either the Speaker or the Senate President yet. So while on the one hand the clock is ticking, on the other, the clock hasn't even started in terms of the governor having up to 30 days to take a look at the proposed budget. I don't think there's any question that the governor will meet the portions of what is being proposed because it's so out of balance.
So for our listeners that aren't following the details, again, we're at a little bit of a budget stalemate over here where Republicans led by Governor Bruce Rauner are asking for I believe, a balanced budget, and Democrats have passed the budget. It hasn't gotten to the governor's desk, but it's, I believe, severely out of balance. And Chad Hayes is down in Springfield representing the 104th district, which includes the Danville area. And Chad, before we get back to the budget, I don't want to indicate to our listeners that it's all doom and gloom. Chad, you're an interesting guy. You're part of the Boat Drink Caucus. Do you mind telling our listeners what that is?
Well, the Boat Drink Caucus is a band, actually a bipartisan band. I'm joined by State Senator Don Harmon from the Oak Park area and State Representative Mike Tryon from Crystal Lake, Illinois, in McHenry County. And it just started kind of the three of us playing guitar for fun, and it morphed into a couple of really, really fun gigs. There was a major music festival last September in the Danville area called Phases of the Moon Festival. The headliners were people like Widespread Panic and Grace Potter and the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and we were lucky enough to be able to open that festival. And then we probably the neatest thing we've been able to do is we were able to play at the governor's inaugural concert opening for Buddy Guy and Toby Keith.
That's awesome.
So that was a thrill, to say the least.
So, Chad Hayes, are you telling me that it is possible to have bipartisanship?
It is. Certainly, obviously we do this for fun, largely for charity, but it does bring out a broad cross-section of the Springfield crowd, both Republicans and Democrats and lobbyists from all perspectives. And when we played the larger venues, we were joined by some really terrific musicians from the Champaign-Urbana area, and actually my sister, who lives in Muskego, Wisconsin, who is the true talent in our family.
That's fantastic. So back to the budget. Now that we've established that it is possible to get things done, it is possible to have a little bit of bipartisanship. Right now, again, a little bit of a stalemate. There are a lot of important causes and organizations. I know you and I have talked about a few of those institutions protecting the most vulnerable, the elderly. And right now, what is next in that negotiation, in that balance between trying to provide important services and, of course, balancing a budget? We all run our homes, and we wouldn't spend more than we have. What's next in that conversation? How can our listeners get involved?
I think at the end of the day, surely there will be a budget. And I think that budget will almost certainly involve both a reduction in the level of spending and probably new revenue. And the new revenue portion, it's too soon to say what that will be. As you know, there was an income tax increase that passed 3 or 4 years ago that had a sunset date, and it did, in fact, sunset. Some were a little bit surprised that before Governor Klein left office, the majority, who had a super majority in the House and the Senate, didn't go ahead and extend that and have Governor Quinn sign it before he left. That did not happen. But I think at the end, that's really the conduit to the balanced budget is probably a combination of revenues of some sort and a reduction in spending. The other piece of this, of course, is Governor Rauner has asked for a series of reforms. Some have direct budget implications, some have larger implications. He's kind of whittled that list down. It includes things like a fair math amendment going on the ballot, term limits, workman's compensation reform, property tax freezes, et cetera. And so I think when this all shakes out, and if it shakes out in the next few weeks or even goes well into the summer, I think that will be the recipe. It will be an agreement on new revenue, an agreement on reduction in spending from the levels that have been projected or certainly asked for.
Well, that's what our listeners need to be watching out for. So, Chad, we're just about 30 seconds before the end of this segment, and we'd love to share your website so people can learn more about your legislative priorities and maybe even learn a thing or two about the Boat Drink Caucus. Illinois Representative Chad Hayes, how can people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me at Chad at Rep Hayes, or on the band front, they can get a hold of me if they go on Facebook, just to the Boat Drink Caucus.
Fantastic.
We have a page there.
State Representative Chad Hayes. Check out his website, chadhayes.net. Check out the Boat Drink Caucus on Facebook. Representative Hayes, thank you for joining us and Get Down to Business. Very important update on what's going on in Springfield. We'll be sure to check in with you as the summer unfolds. After the break, we've got some more information, advice, and entrepreneurship on Get Down to Business.